Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a warning. I used to work for LV. If you are new to my channel, you might not know that, but I used to work for Louis Vuitton years ago. Since then, I've uploaded many videos talking about my employment with LV, client drama, coworker drama. Then some people were interested in, working for LV and my kind of hiring process. So I posted a few videos detailing how I was hired, my prior work experience. And then I also posted interview tips and how to kind of nail the interview. I talked about my job recently because I still say my job. I am no longer gainfully employed in a 9-to-5 corporate law job anymore. I quit my job, I resigned, and now I am a stay-at-home mom to my 3 beautiful boys. But for many years, I did work in law. I went to law school after LV, and then I worked some stressful legal jobs. And I have some advice to all you young folks out there. I am what they call a geriatric millennial, meaning that my generation kind of straddled the analog, cassette tape, dial-up phones, landlines, and then cell phones and the internet. Like, we were around for the birth of the internet. I was around when Facebook first started and when Facebook was cool. I don't know if you guys know this, but initially Facebook used to be really cool and it was intended for college students. Learn about who was in your classes, share notes. It was very strictly college oriented, and then it became a social media photo sharing kind of platform. It's kind of degraded in terms of its popularity. I have a horror story for you about social media and how it affects your potential job. When I was attending law school, I was working full time and I was attending law school at night. I worked in a courthouse. And so I knew all the court staff. I knew the prosecutors. I knew the public defenders. As a law student, there is this thing called clerkships or clerking for a judge. So current law students will interview with either a county circuit judge or at the federal level or appellate level, and they will clerk for the judge and gain some firsthand experience, courtroom experience, writing legal briefs, writing legal memos, doing legal research while attending law school. Because I worked for these judges, they trusted me and they trusted my opinion and my recommendations. And one day, one of the judges asked me to his chambers. He was there with his current law clerk, and he asked me, "Cindy, do you know so-and-so?" Let's call her. He said, "Do you know Karen Smith?" Let's say, "Do you know Karen Smith?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, Karen Smith. She was in my first semester contracts class. And actually we were in a study group together." And he said, "Okay, how would you describe her character?" And I was like, what? I was so surprised by that question. Being summoned to a judge's chambers, even though I knew him and we were colleagues, it's always like, what's this about? Like, am I in trouble? You always feel like you're being called into the principal's office. So, he basically started asking me about this woman, Karen Smith. And yes, she and I, we were in our 1L contracts course together. Yeah, I thought she was really smart and I just had nothing but high praise for her. So I told him that, and he said, "Okay, well, I had my law clerk, like his current law clerk." So as it turned out, he was interviewing for his next law clerk. This Karen Smith, my former classmate, applied for the job, and his current law clerk, he had her do research. And at this point in the early to mid to late 2000s, Facebook was just all the rage. Everyone was on it. And it's like there was almost no filter. It's when the timeline was created. It's where you could literally dump entire photo albums of whichever party you went to that night, and then you can tag other friends. Very different from today's Instagram, where everything is very highly curated and, deliberate. So she was applying to this job, and he had his law clerk do some research on her. That included looking her up on social media. And as it turned out, she was my Facebook friend, more like acquaintances. And they noticed that we were friends. And because I was friends with this current law clerk, she could see the prospective law clerk applicant, her entire Facebook profile. And what caught his eye, if you're not familiar with Facebook, there are these things called Facebook groups. At the time, they were just really silly. I mean, they still are. There are many Facebook groups that just make no sense. There are some legitimate ones like a community HOA or something, or a school. And then there are some silly Facebook groups, like people who love the sound of crunching leaves under their foot, like just totally random, weird groups. As a joke, she had joined a group, or was a member of a Facebook group called Women Who Like to Use the Word. And that was it. I mean, it was just a joke. It's like a joke group, I don't think she was an active member or posted in it, and she just was a member of that group. But when your Facebook profile is semi-public, it shows to a viewer the list of any groups of which you are a member. And so he saw that she was a member of this group, Women Who Like to Use the Word That was the only questionable thing he saw on her Facebook that gave him pause to have me, you know, basically vouch for her character, which I did. If I didn't really know her, I mean, I would have just been like, yeah, I mean, I don't really know her. We were in a class together. I didn't really interact with her. But in this case, fortunately for her, we were in a study group. I really did think she was very smart. She and I worked well together. And I told him that I kind of educated him on Facebook and explained how these, you know, groups work, and that it's really just, a lot of times it's just a joke. People can join one and it's not like, they don't give it a second thought. They don't even know that they're still a member of it. I explained that she probably didn't even know what it was. And he said, okay, well, that makes me feel better. And he told me that, you know, he thought she did interview very well and she looked great on paper. And that was the only thing that caused him some concern that he wanted to clear up with me. I told her, because we were still acquaintances, I said, hey, listen, Judge so-and-so is wondering what's going on with your Facebook and it's like causing him concern. Maybe clean up your Facebook page. And she said, oh my gosh, I had no idea I was in that group. Let me go clean it up. And you know what? And he hired her and she did great. She was a great law clerk. Moral of the story, you folks out there, especially you youngsters, if you're in school and you are looking to enter the workforce in any capacity, any job out there, any person can look up your name. There are a lot of online detectives, internet sleuths out there that can find you by your name, by your pseudonym, your email, you know, even those embarrassing emails from back in the day that aren't professional. Even Venmo of all things has a feed where if you've ever Venmoed anyone ever once, it will live on your timeline and you'll see who they send money to, what the notes are. This video started off because people were asking me on my how to get hired at LV video, you know, for more information and for, you know, some more advice. And that's my advice to you, is to just clean up your online profile. Do a Google search for your name and see what comes up. Do your best to not have anything embarrassing show up when your prospective employer Googles your name. Yeah, let me know if you have any other advice for especially young kids out there who just kind of do some dumb stuff online. With the advent of TikTok and Instagram stories, even though they may be fleeting, a lot of this stuff can live on and you don't want to be canceled for whatever reason. So please be careful out there. Let me know if you've had any embarrassing stories about something that has come up in your past and HR has called you down to the office, either for yourself or for another coworker or prospective coworker. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope to catch you in my next video. Bye.